Namaskara. Good morning to all of you. And we are just thinking of Shaivism now. So when we talk of Shaivism, Shiva comes to our view. That means in Shaivism, Shiva should be heard. Shiva should be told. Shiva should be adored. This is the aspiration of any devotee who follows Shaivism. When we say Shiva, he is Mangalakara. Tesmin Sarvamitra Shiva. This is quoted from Siddhanta Kaumati Gunadi Sutra. That means Shiva is sold in everybody, in everything, according to it. So that means when we say Shiva, we always think of Shiva. We know in the alphabetic, particularly consonants, the fourth letter is Va. Fifth letter is Sha. The fourth letter Va indicates Sanatana. According to Chaturyuga Patakata Sutra, it is Acharya Vakya, they say. Hence, for that letter, the antiquity automatically is all required. Sha is fifth letter. It indicates the dhyana, the presence. So, in adoring Shiva, always the thought of sacredness is indicated. Hence, he is representing the center of yoga and the most antiquity figure we find. In Rigveda, Dosha Shiva Sahasaha Suno Agneyam Deva Ajit Sachate Swasti. That means Agni itself is form of Shiva. In Taittiriya Vajrasreyi, it says Shiva Bhutva Mahamakne Tosi Deshvastvam. That means your Shiva, your Mangalakara, you are in that form. In Shatapata Brahmana, Rudro Yesha Yadagnihi. That means Agni itself is Rudra. So all these things, when we look to this one, he is both in Nishkala Rupa and Sakala Rupa. Particularly his Jyotirlinga also we say. Linga is the name for space in the whole universe, which is in the process of formation and dissolution. Shivalinga, the all-pervading space, thus symbolizes a cosmic form, serenely detached and self-sufficient. Linga is closely connected with the ancient cult of mountain Sarpa. This is really a suitable harmonious attachment to Kadambas also. Because Naga cult is also adored there. So when we look into these things, in the concept of Indian philosophy, the Kailasa Manasarovara, Kailasa Manasarovara we just observed, in the center, from sculptural point of view, it is Rudra Bhaga. Surrounded, Jalahari is there. That is Vishnu Bhaga say. That means the nature created Shivalinga is the first Shivalinga to the entire world which is given the concept of Shivalinga. So, it is Shivalinga created by nature in Kailas Manasarovara. In yes, this one. In the center, if you just consider as a Rudrabhaga, around it, Jalahari. So the combination, we just think of Shivalinga, this nature created Shivalinga, we feel. And in Neolithic stage, even in Balochistan, about 4,000 years back, and Jog culture also, the miniature Liga form also was available, they say. So that means in Sindhu culture, Rudra Pashupati. He is surrounded by animals, plants, and it is a form of him will be a Burjan, you may see. And on the headdress, 2 horns. In the middle, it is a form of Chatrakara Linga. So that means in the U form is one of the letter. This is in the horizontal frame. If you just change it into perpendicular form, what does it show? It becomes Onkara. Nataraja says, this Onkara form represents Kriya Yoga. The Sanskrit, he says. That means the horn itself, we feel, when you keep it on lavender, perpendicular form, it shows Onkara. So that means with this form, even in the villages, even today, we find, particularly in Manali, near Chandrapatna, on the head of the deities, they put Nettilinga, they call. So that means the flow of the spirit is inculcated even today to that one. And also the face of Shiva, 4 to 5 faces we find. Sadyojata, Vamadeva, Aghora, Tatpurusha, Ishadni. This Chaturmukha, of course, he is popular. And in Nepal Pashupati temple, the Chaturmukha we have. But in Kadvi, near Bellary, we have about 5-faced Shivalinga. So these are the different forms we find regarding Shiva. And this has further flowed, how even in Kashmir in 3rd century BC, it is said Ashoka in Kashmir, he has constructed Shiva Ashokeshwar. That means how the Shaivistic philosophy has followed in the generations. He has created Shiva, Lokeshwar, Yankeshwar, he says about this one. So even in Gudimalinga, Shivalinga, it is both Nishkala and Sakala. Of course, they say Parashurama Linga. Is it really a Linga or some other deity? We have to think it out. Because in the Nishkala form, Linga form is also there. And Sakala Rupa Shiva is there. And in the right hand, the Tagaro. That means, is a realistic, that means we can compare it to 12th Leela of Shiva, like Veerabhadra. That is Veerabhadra Linga also, they say that one. That is apart from that one. So that means how Shiva is incorporated in different forms to our people. That is how Bana in Harsha Charitra, Namastu Garshirastu Chandra Chabara Charavi, he says. So on the head, just like Chabara, Chandra is shown. And he is the fundamental stambha for the 3 worlds, he said, they say. Kalidasa also says, Vagarthavya Sampraktam, Vagartha Pratipatti, Jagatavu Pitaravu Vande, etc. That means they are the parents of this world. So we feel that philosophical, not merely philosophically a figure, but also sentimental and inward attachment towards Shiva and Shiva in the form of parents. And Siddhartha comment, they say, Trailokya Sampada Lekhya Sabulekhala Vitte. That means, in the three words, the beautiful figure of he is the fundamental. So that means, when you look into these things, he is both Laukika and Paramarthika, a combination of that one we see. And in later stages, in Sindhu valleys, Kashi Vamsha is one of the dynasty where Ratya kings were ruling at Varanasi. Shivadasa was his son was Devadasa. And they have started Kashi Nagaraj. Rahul Sankritayana says it is about 1500 BC. So in Varanasi, this Vatyarajanya dynasty has their guru as Vatya Prashipata. That is one of the branch of the Shaiva. And they were Jagamamunis, they say. Shumara Ganadisham Charitrena Manoharam Veera Maheshwaracharam Prapareta Vityasi, they say. And once a lady, BC, in Karashti Shastra, Shiva is called Sevas. Isha Deva Vare Ahamasa Mahesha. So, that means the Linga form has been imagined. And before that, in Lucknow, that is 2nd century BC, it has 5 faces Linga, Brahmani Shastra has one, and it is about Shatavahana's time. Kajahuti Putanam Lingo Patitopito, Vasati Putena Nagasirana Piyata Devata. So that means the Vasati Putra Nagasiriya, Kajahutiya children, symbol of that one, the Linga has been made. So for Kajahuti, for the 5 children of Kajahuti, one Linga is installed. That as per L.K. Srinivas and our Srinivas Padigar also. And Padigar further, he says that this concept of Lingaikia was about 2nd century BC antiquity. And similarly, in 7th century BC, AD, the Pashupata of Maheshwara, its influence in Karnataka and Andhra was there. So, he says, Padigar again says, She Utpatti Pidugu Ekantavasi Virama Maheshwaran Mahamunishwaran. That means the Munishwara, Pashupata. But then, Ekantavasi Viramaheshwara, it was really a symbol for that one. And we will come to know, we just remember Ekantaramaya. Ekantaramaya, we must, Abba Ulur inscription. It is said, Jambu Dvipa is there. To the south of Jambu Dvipa, Himalaya is there. So what does it mean? Jambu Dvipa is beyond Himalaya, that Bharatavarsha is beyond that. And to the western portion of south, Kuntala was there, which was ruled by Shatavahana. So that means the Jambu Dvipa has so much of expansion. That is why they say, it is said Kushana, no, they are foreigners, not necessary. Jambu Dvipa was there, the people were there. They came. They are not foreign, they are our own people. They came to Bharatavarsha. So we have to think of these things, how the Shaivism has its own roots. And such a legacy we have to find. And these Vakatakas, they are they are from Varshiva Vamshika. They used to have Amshabhara Sanniveshada Shivalinga Bhavana, Shiva Paritushta Samutpadita Rajavamsha. They used to carry Shivalinga. Even in the Andhra Museum, Shiva has Shivalinga on his head, on his shoulders. And even in our Gauribindur Hosur temple, we have same type of Shiva and Parvati carrying Shivalinga on their shoulders. So this is how Shiva is incorporated all parts of the life situations in here. And Dr. Shiv Jachani, explaining about Rudra, he says, Bhadram karane vishunayama devaha Bhadram pashyema kshibhirya jatraha Sthiram rangaistu Vagam shastanubihi vyaseva devahitam yada. That means I must see Shiva, I must touch Shiva, I must hear Shiva, I must adore Shiva. I do Archana, I should do Archana to him. This is till our life. So this is how our culture, Shaivism, has introduced itself in the lifestyle of our India and our particularly Karnataka. See. So with these introductory aspects of the Shaivism, the tradition of Indian cultural phenomena, Mangalakara Shobhe Shiva. That means he is the light of sacredness. That is Shiva. Shubha Shobhe is always sacred. Therefore, we give preference to that one. Always he is Mudala all of the Bharata Padavul, they say. Shiva is Sakala Rupa, that means in the usual form, this form. Look into that one, he is just like tribal god. That means tribal deity, the Daivika Purusha. That means even the tribal people of the original people of Bharat, for them he is Adhideva, Aradhya Deva, and Desi Gura. So from this background, Shaivism portrays the deity Shiva and the intense adoration in general of this deity by the devotees are said to be Shivas. Hence, the evolutionary path of Shaivism will have to be our prime concern to know its origin, as I have always said. The adoration vividly of Shiva in different parts of India may also be our consideration for comparative analysis, particularly in Karnataka, how it flourished under Kadambas, since it is our present major concern, and Kadambas are supposed to be the first royal dynasty of Karnataka, and knowing their origin will also have to go along with the presentation. Shaivas forums and descriptions have always a spiritual extolment of Shaivism. Shaivism is fundamentally concerned with Shiva. Shiva Sedam, and the persons accepting this pervasiveness to seek his grace and believe their life goal is Shiva or Shaiva. Shaivism, though has antiquity, in later period it has its own branches as per Naradiya Purana, like Pashtuta, Mahavrata, Dhara, Siddhanta Margi, Kapalika, Vamana Purana lists Adisheva, Pashupata, Kalavadana, Kapali is the explanation written by Vachaspati Mishra. To the commentary prepared by Shankara Bhashya to Bhadarayana Sutra has stated Shaiva, Pashupata, Karudika, Siddhanta, Kapalika are the branches. Hence, categorically mentioned as Shiva should be examined about its foundation and its primary frame. Sri Ramanujacharya in Shivashya categorizes Kapali, Kalamukha, Pashupata as Shiva branches. Vidyalankara S.K. Ramchandra Rao says that Vayu Samhita, Shiva Purana, upholds Shivajnana and suggests Bhakti Marga. It has said, Shiva Bhaktina Sandehaste Yukto Vichate and presented Bhagavata principle Prasado Bhakti Sambhavaha. This is nothing but Agava Shiva. Rigvedic Rudra in Yajurveda Taittiriya Samhita has been Shiva Tanu and Shatapata Brahmana, Kautaki Brahmana, the Rudra-oriented names have become Shiva-oriented names. By the time of Patanjali, it came to be known that the lifetime spike holder Shiva, Bhagavatas used to try by vigor action of rites to get the refuge of Shiva. The pictures of Veera Shiva holding spike or axe in his hands often and often are seen on the coins of Indo-Parthian kings, Kushana kings, Kushana, Havishkan, Imadi Vasudeva as a symbol of expression of heroic favor. This had an impact on common Shiva Bhaktas, suggesting through the expression of such fervor. As a matter of fact, Linga is all pervading creating power on the world. Linga Purana clearly states, Linga Murti Shiva Jyotini. Linga Pratibha that manifests is Sakala form, that which is unmanifested is Sadashiva. Our Linga worship, that Linga Puja, and the type of sensualistic Linga Puja practice work in Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, etc. are not at all anywhere related. Our Linga Puja is sacred. Our concept is sacred. They have a different sense. Hence, it is sufficient to say, gentle face of Shiva is Linga, is our tradition. In the structure of Linga, Shakti is also incorporated. Hence, it has to be noted that Linga Purana says, Linga Vedi Mahadevi, Linga Sakshal Mahadevi. Well, in Rigvedic Haiman, Shiva is addressed as Ekavratya, an invented engrossment between column, that is Skamba and Linga. Atharvaveda states, Skambodha Dhyava Prithvi, showing the excellence of Shiva. In the Mahenjaro Sindhu culture, the secret, as I already told, Pashupati Shiva is deemed as Tribhuka Mahadeva, the early form of Shiva. It is said that the headdress has a pair of dual horns. In Rigveda, horn-bounded headdress people have been recorded Vishadis and Shivasa people, and were regarded as so. The above secret deity seems to be nude, and hands and legs are yogic form. This deity is surrounded by animals and hence called as Pashupati. His sitting position is quite distinct to Vratyas, and it is known as Asandi position. Sindhu culture is almost Naga Samskriti, Naga culture. And even before the state, village culture was in extent around, which is indicated by the relics available in Kuli and Jog valleys of Balochistan. In Naga tradition and Shaiva Siddhanta, the combination of being unmanifested Shiva and manifested Shakti, and Shakti is deemed as female by tradition. The bird figures of Kuli represent gentle form of Shakti, and Jog figures on green pose is probably lending themselves to Gauri and Kali in Shakti form, just as in the difference in the temple of Rudra Shiva. The excellence of Vrishva is recorded in Rigveda, Vrishva Masahuti, and Rudra is also addressed as Vrishva. In the secrets of Sindhu culture, Rudra is shown as Basava, and Shiva is in human form. Later in the coins, Basava, that is Vrishva, is pictured along with Shiva. They are quite specifically pictured in the coins of Kushana. During Maukari dynastic ages, Ardhanarishwara figures, that is combination of male and female form, came into work. It means Ardhanarishwara idol is a manifested Rudra Shiva union. Vayu Samhite said, Lingam tu Shiva Yordeha. It resonates the Shiva union of bodies of Shiva and Shiva became Liga. In the concept of Shiva, Shakti combines always with it, and it is old tradition of Shaivas who are the adored devotees of that. That is why Shiva has been included in Adi Shakti, Parashakti and Kriya Shakti. So this is our Shaivism shown in its evolution, which has caused the harmonious blend of life of Indian people. The erudite Sanskrit scholar Dr. Natwarja says, Sindhu script is old Brahmi, and he has analyzed the script at the figure of the singular and felt that is the thoughts of Shaiva Agama and Kriya Agama are symbolically indicated. We can analyze the characteristic feature of the head trace of the signet, that is figure, in the horizontal front, as I already showed, showing the two horns at the edges and Shakra form of linear symbol of the center. When this disform is placed in perpendicular, it will look as well as I've already told, and to the concept of Kriya Yoga, as mentioned Dr. Natwarja. Similarly, at Manasaravara Kailasa, we get the glimpse of the nature created Shivaliga. In this background, you can see Kadambas and their devotion to Shiva and following Shaivism is their family tradition. So, legacy origin of Kadambas. Regarding Kadambas, legendary story gives some step of their tradition of devotion to Shiva. All this legendary, they concentrated only on Shiva. According to Parashurama, he recovered Haigan Thruva forest from the sea. Shiva and Parvati came to Sahyadri mountain so as to look into the new country forest. In the meanwhile, during their pastures, a male child was born under Kadamba tree, which gave the name to the dynasty since the cause of the shade water. The ancient Digombe inscriptions picture the rise of the family attributing the three-eyed and four-armed giant also called Trilochala Kadamba, that is three-eyed Kadamba. He is said to have emerged from the top of the set that fell on the earth of the roots of Kadamba tree from the forehead of God Shiva as usual. After the conquest of the Devon Tripura, the inscription of Nagarkanda Kadambas relates Kadamba family with that of Nandas. According to it, King Nanda, for want of hair to him, worshipped Shiva at the Kailasa mountain for many days, but his desire of obtaining a son was belated. Since his desire was still to be granted, he was filled with a distress. Then, as if to his desire fulfillment, some Kadamba flower accidentally fell down from the tree by the grace of invisible hand. So, in this way, Shiva-oriented worship was created in the inception of the dynasty of the Kadambas. Hence, the early legends of the Kadambas led to show that they were deeply with Shiva evolution. The more realistic account as per inscription is that Kadamba tree has grown in front of the family residence, and by the cultivation of it, they acquired the name to the dynasty. It is also a fact that these trees grow in Mandara mountain. They are tall and handsome trees, having this name or the species of the nuclei maternal order, Zincona, etc. by biological term. They grow in many parts of India. Lord Krishna is also associated with Kadamba tree in legendary series of the Lord. The spirit is said to be distinct from the flower. In the vast dictionary, the tree is described as Anthrocephus, belonging to the rubiaceae, and flowers are said to be sacred to the Shiva. So people of this part of the country, being at that time without a monarch, had recourse to the state elephant, which being turned loose carrying a wreath presented to the youth. whose birth was no miracle, and he was consequently proclaimed as the king, who is variously styled by the name Jayanta, Trilochana Kadamba, and Trinetra Kadamba. The royal line was thus formed about 2nd century AD, continued independent till 6th century AD. During this period, they claimed to have performed many Akshara, being an indication of supreme authority, and family deity was Madhikeshwara Banavasi. Prior to Kadamba dynasty, being the earliest ruling dynasty of Karnataka, Shatavahana ruled only around Bellary and Chitraduga districts. After Shatavahana rule, Chutus ruled a small region around Banavasi. Earlier to Kadamba, Shatavahana rulers like Satakarni worshipped the god Pradameshwar of Talamunda as per Shantivarma's Talamunda inscription. Gautami Putra Shatakarni seems to have camped at Vaijayanti, that is Banavasi. The Chutus inscription of Banavadi in Shivamoga district and Banavasi, the former dated 2nd year of the rule of Vishnu Chatupunananda Satakarni as the king of Banavasi. The latter dated 12th century of the rule mentions his daughter Shivaskanda Ragashi. Prasad Prakash Shivaskanda is there. Further, it is interesting to note, according to the Gundapura inscription regarding the genealogy of Kadambas, the 2 generations prior to there was one Veerasharma, and it is quite possible that Shivaskanda mentioned in the Malvali inscription, making a gift of some more villagers to the original grandparent of Chitukulananda was a Kadamba. King ruling prior to Veerasharma as appointed by B.R. Gopal is a very notable factor. Further, he says, being a subordinate of Pallava Shivaskanda's karma, it would not be perhaps wrong if you look the overlord if you took the overlord name. Coming to about the first rulers of the Kadamba dynasty, hitherto furnished through Talamunda inscription that a Brahmin named Mayur Sharma of the Kadamba family went with his grandfather and Guru Veer Sharma to the Pallava capital Kanchi to study Vedas and the whole of sacred lore, suggests that he was a Shaiva Brahmin. It was well known that the Pallavas were staunch Shaivas, and consequently their capital was a stronghold of Shaivism. While there was a sharp quarrel arose between him and one of the officers of the Pallavas who misbehaved, and Maheshwara felt highly insulted, hence protested. He became so enraged and resolved to teach a lesson. Though a Brahmin, he involved the Kshatriya attribute to be a person of martial cover, that Kshatriya holding his name Mayuravarma instead of Mayurasharma in order to take revenge. He overpowered Pallava officials in the northern frontier and himself entrenched in the forest round about the Srishalam fugitives and founded an independent kingdom where Pallavas failing to put down, made a peace with him and considered him to the sovereignty of some territory along the west coast around about Vaijayanti. Thus he became the founder of Kadamba dynasty. You compare Vishwamitra and Vasishtha, Kshatriya, Brahma Palambana, Adi Shrestha, compare by reverse culture. According to his parent, the grandfather Veer Sharma was Veer Sharma, and his father's name Bandhu Sharma. Dr. Ines Sarat has raised an interesting analytical note with respect to the name of Mayur Sharma's father, because in the Gundapura inscription, Ravi Varma, Bandhu Sharma was the eldest son of the Veer Sharma. And this Bandhu Sharma, though Brahmin, has shown violation to the martial valor. But in Harrison Copperplate record, he recorded Acharya Bandhu Sharma. Hence, his implication has been analyzed by Dr. N.S. Tanara as follows. The inception period of Kadamba dynasty, in names of the Kadamba kings end with the word Varma, but in the name of the father of the Mayur Sharma, Bandhu Sharma, which ends with Sharma, seems to be peculiar. Such ending word seems not in the vogue among the Vedika. Generally, their names end with the word Sharma. We find the names ending with Shena, like Nandi Shena, Malli Shena, Hari Shena among Jaina. So, Hence, the Bandhushana Acharya means his spiritual guide in the Jaina tradition. But Ravirma inscription would not indicate that it is due to Bandhushana alone the dynasty got the touch of martial ascendancy, while Halsey Copper Plate records describe the established dynasty and its branches have been made Bandhushana, but the violence and bloodshed in warfare had made Bandhushana to aversion and disgust towards them, and did he return towards the non-violent prominent Jaina religion. In consequence to this, this was Meru Sharma sheltered and brought up by his Guru Father. These are the questions that may come to the fore according to Dr. Tharar. Kadambas are much tolerant other religions also. In Jaina endowment of Kadambas, a description of origin of Jaina is recorded, but this record Bengaluru described as the son of the sister of the Jaina Tirthankara, Ananda Jinavardhan, that was born under the famous Kadamba tree. So Brigeshwar Varma, the later king of dynasty, had a soft corner of Jainism. He granted three grants to worshippers of Jaina. That means probably the father of Meru Sharma had his earlier name as Bandhu Sharma, and later attracted by Jaina tradition, has not only the tolerant policy and honor of the Jaina tradition, thought that will add to strengthening the Kadamba empire, hence made a change his name as Bandhu Sharma. This may be only a probability, since Jaina is from Kadamba. It may also probability to symbolically express matter with regard to the violation to the Valishara, Bandhushara, etc. So Kadamba described themselves the members of Manavya Gotra and Hariti Putra to be mediating on Sharadana, and seven members, Saptapatrika, Shatavanas and the Cholas also claim to belong to the same Gotra. According to Apastamba, this Pravara pertains to Kshatriya proper. Probably Kadamba used to mention this Pravara since they were involved in Kshatriya administrative duties with harmonious blend of all religions in their kingdom beyond the profession of Brahmins. Anyhow, their family deity, though Shiva, they were tolerant to other religions and respective deities, and also maintained Brahminic tradition by conducting many sacrifices. Anyhow, let us concentrate on how Shaivism was practiced during that period. So, here the branches, when we just look into their following and adoration and construction of temples were all Shaiva temples. This clearly shows that the influence of the Shiva has run through the entire dynasty of Kadambas. Thank you very much.